another video. It is me and Sam. We are watching animated story. My cat got me pregnant. Let's get into this.
Okay, I have a lot of questions. What kind of government experiment is your cat from? And why are you banging with your cat?
Hello there. My name is
some
Amber,
questions.
and I'm 19 years old. I want to talk about how my cat ended up causing me to get pregnant.
This girl is 19. What the fuck?
I know that sounds
imagine
really
your
out
cat
there,
turned out to
but
be
I
like
promise you,
Nelskull,
it makes more sense if you
from
keep listening.
Fortnite.
It's a bit of a crazy tale, but in the end, I think you'll understand why I made such a preposterous claim. I want to first tell the slightly crazy tale of my mother first, as unfortunate events seem to run in the family. For quite a long time, she was with a man named Jack. She absolutely was in love with Jack.
Jack Sparrow. Ha ha ha.
That's got to be the best pirate I've ever seen. So it would seem.
Ever since high school, and they dated all through high school,
What's that
and even a few years after that.
Jack and the Giant
My mother got a
Balloons and
tip
shit?
from one of her friends, however, that he was seeing someone else on the side. After another tip-off about another woman at his home, she walked in on him with another woman. Needless to say, she dumped him on the spot. Now the friend who tipped her off, his name was Mark. Mark and Jack had been close friends as well, so that was why he was able to find out about him seeing another woman. Mark was very kind to her, and consoled her through the
looks like
sadness
he's
she
squeezing
felt
shit
at
out
finding
of her
out Jack
ass.
betrayed her. It wasn't too long before they were both
shit,
dating
no.
instead. Jack
fine,
long
fine,
forgotten
don't
by
judge
both of
anyone.
them. They were together for over 2 years, and they never had any problems together. Neither of them cheated on the other, they never fought or had arguments. It all seemed perfect. It was so perfect, in fact, that they
Until
wound
the
up getting
dog
married.
got them
It seemed like my mother had found the perfect guy after her fallout with her cheating boyfriend. Things were never that perfect, however, and neither of them could have predicted what a jaded lover could do when scorned. Jack had started to plan a way to destroy their relationship in petty jealousness. My mother was at home one
Goddamn.
day, cleaning and doing other stay-at-home wife duties, when she got a call on her phone.
She like a
That call
housekeeper
was
for
from
her
Jack,
own house.
and she nearly hung up on him when she heard his voice.
That's the
But he
stupidest
pleaded with
thing
her
I've
to
ever
listen
said
to
in my
him.
whole life.
He told her that he wasn't calling to provoke her, but that his mother had wanted to see
Trust
her.
me, you said stupid.
He made
I
up
don't
some
even have a
story about how his mother was showing early symptoms of dementia and was asking about her, apparently still thinking
How
they
many
were
of you guys have a
together.
housekeeper?
It sounds like a pathetic attempt at an excuse to me, but my mother still decided to head over
No
to
one
his
can
house.
hear shit because you're talking over it.
Can we just take a moment and ask why she is in a room with one little chair, like a chair, and just like a thing with a lamp on it?
I think her fucking husband is supposed to be some rich ass guy, and they're like in a penthouse. I don't know. That's what they made it look like with the suit and shit.
And see. When she arrived at the house and knocked on the door, Jack was the one to answer and let her in the house. Unsurprisingly, Jack's mother didn't appear to be there. When my mother turned to demand what Jack was playing at, he suddenly pushed against her and started to kiss her. After the initial shock factor had passed, my mother shoved him off and slapped him hard across the face. She stormed out of the house after that, fuming and outraged that he had devised such an elaborate plan to get her out to his house. My mother wasn't sure what to do when she got home. She was unsure if she should tell Mark about what had happened or not.
Well,
Jack
fucking
hadn't done
tell
anything
him.
too bad to her,
Oh, no
but it was
shit.
possible he could become a problem in the future. She was still debating on when to tell him about a week later,
Just fucking
but then
tell
she
him.
found out she was pregnant. The whole incident was pushed to the back of her mind as she started making plans with Mark about having a baby. Everything seemed happy again. But then Jack decided to completely destroy their relationship. He sent messages to my father with pictures of him and my mother together from that day he'd pushed himself on her. I guess he had hidden some sort of camera somewhere and taken footage from it,
Oh my god.
conveniently cutting out the parts where she pushed him away. Mark was upset over this, and my mother desperately tried to explain to him what had really happened. He wouldn't listen to her, though, apparently having
fucking
already
told him.
decided that he could no longer trust her. He began to doubt that the baby was even
This
his,
is making me
which it
sad
was,
how stupid
obviously,
she is.
but he couldn't be reasoned with.
Rest in peace to this lady. She was sexually assaulted, and now he is mad at her.
Just fucking bitch slap the guy until he tells you the truth. Go to his.
So
I mean, you're American, aren't you? Just take a fucking gun.
One time I shit.
Tell me! Tell me!
One time I shit myself.
My mom was about 5 months
Okay.
pregnant when they got divorced, and I'm sure
Oh,
Jack was so thrilled to hear about that. Still, my mother didn't go back to Jack
This is
because
your
now
story,
she
my guy.
despised him for sabotaging her marriage.
What does this have to do with my cat got me pregnant? My animated story. This is my
I
story.
don't know.
She decided to stay single and get a job to support herself, refusing to let a man hold her back anymore. She gave birth to me months later, and she was living a stable life with a stable
that's
job,
her.
able to be a strong single mother. She was a strong female role in my life growing up, and it almost made up for the lack of a father figure in my life. We were happy. I was
Almost,
happy.
Jeez.
I never had any siblings in my life, but I did have my cousin. My mother's sister came around a lot after my father left, preaching about how unreliable men were and how she didn't need a
They have the
man.
same voice
She
as
always
her.
tended to bring her own kid, who was around the same age as I
They're telling
was.
stories
So I
about-
always
and
saw
it-
my
it is
cousin
fake.
as almost
They're
like a
telling stories
sibling,
about other
as we
people,
played
you know?
together and grew up together. My cousin was always a great person to be around, and he was always so kind and conscious about
Just,
me
like,
and how I was
saying it
feeling.
like if it's them, they're
Things got a
acting.
little weird when he
They're
told me one
putting
day,
themselves
around the time we were teenagers, that he believed he loved me. I didn't understand at first
They're
because,
fucking
yeah,
cousins,
I loved him
jeez.
too. He was my family.
Pregnancy stories.
Sweet home Alabama.
Oh, wait, no. Look at the suggested.
Things
part
got a
in the
little
top.
weird when he told me one
Top
day, around the time we were teenagers, that he believed he loved me. I didn't understand at first because, yeah, I loved him too. He was my family, my cousin, but I didn't realize he meant beyond familiar love. I explained to him that I saw him like my brother, and that we were related, so it could never work
Sweet
even if I didn't.
Alabama.
I don't think he took it too well, but that was my stance on the matter.
Where the
Things got
skies
tense
are
between
all
us,
blue.
and we stopped hanging out as much, for obvious reasons.
Sweet.
I was about 17 when I met Lucas. I met him at the local pet shop.
Wait, is he a cat in disguise? Oh my god.
Jesus.
Toi qui as dessiné ça?
Fuck these ads, man.
C'est une botte de foin oubliée.
C'est un scarabée.
Let's get there.
Soft cat.
Maintenant
Jeez, look at his cake.
Shop, where I was picking up some wild bird seed. I enjoyed going down to the park and scattering seeds for the local wildlife, as I found it rather relaxing. He looked so cute with his uniform on and working with the animals.
He had
We wound up
And his
exchanging
cat
numbers,
eyes
and
his
from then
cat
on, it was
tail.
history.
And his
We
cat
met up
paw.
all the
She
time
probably
when we were both
fell asleep
available,
and the cat's like,
and I just
"Ooh,
absolutely
vagina."
adored
Oh.
him. He had
What
these
if
little
the cat's a
dimples on his
girl?
cheeks that would appear when he smiled, and I just couldn't resist his charm. When I graduated from high school, he showed up after the ceremony and presented me with a
There's a
little
cat.
kitten. He was so cute. And the kitten was pretty adorable too. The kitten
It's
was
a
a little
kitten!
ginger, scruffy little guy with the sweetest
Imagine she
eyes.
just dumps
How
him
could
to
I
the
not
cat.
just love this man?
Come here.
That's why I said yes when he asked me to marry him, of course.
Oh.
Lucas had aspirations of becoming a veterinarian, unsurprisingly, and I was focused on getting my own higher
You know
education.
about the new, well, late-ish movie, Cats?
On what?
It's a movie that came out, and it's like cats, like human size. It's a fucking nightmare. It's scary as shit. But I'll just show a preview for the viewers on screen. That, like, imagine her baby turns out as them,
as well.
but like half human.
I wasn't entirely sure what I wanted to do with my life, but I knew exploring different college courses would help me find my way. It was because of this that we both decided to hold off on having any kids quite yet. We were also pretty young,
the cat
and
was
we had
ready
all
to
the time in the world to settle down
If
and start
the
a
cat
family
got
when
her
we were
pregnant.
ready. I had originally
gonna
started
come out
taking
of
birth control pills, but it turns
what
out the
else?
extra estrogen in them caused me to have severe migraines, and my blood pressure shot up. My doctor wound up taking me off of them, stating he feared I would have a stroke or develop a clot in
Wait.
my lungs.
He feared when it is clearly a female.
What the fuck?
With that preventative out the window, we decided to just stick with the classic rubbers for prevention. They were quite effective anyway, so we thought it would be enough. My cousin had become a prominent issue in my life after I got
Man, oh my god, piss off.
married. He refused to let this infatuation thing go and harassed me and my husband all the time. He would constantly come over uninvited and cause a scene. Lucas was starting to become
Christ,
upset with me
Lucas.
because of it, claiming that our relationship seemed too odd to be just cousins. I was annoyed that he would even
Yeah, no
think like
shit.
that,
You said you
but my
liked
cousin
her.
did have a weird kind of crush on me, but he should still trust me that nothing was going on. We tended to fight because of my cousin, and I honestly just wished he would just disappear from our lives. I loved him like family,
snap him.
but he was starting to interfere with my happiness and my new marriage. Everything just got worse when I found out I was pregnant. My husband went ballistic, claiming it couldn't be his because we had been using protection. He had the nerve to accuse me of sleeping with my cousin and getting pregnant that way. I was so upset that he would assume the worst of me that I left the house in tears. My own husband couldn't trust that I wouldn't sleep with my own cousin. What a nightmare. I sat down at the park, where I usually feed the birds, trying to come up with how this could have happened. We had been using protection anytime we were intimate, so how did I wind up pregnant so soon? I kept puzzling over this until it was near evening, and I had to go back home. I decided to check the condoms we had. Maybe they had expired or something? When I jumped out the packages to examine them, I noticed little marks on the wrappers.
Stop.
I looked closer at them and saw they appeared to be little teeth marks that punctured the wrappers. I started to suspect that my cat had jumped on our nightstand and chewed them. I couldn't believe this was happening. I was being accused of cheating with my cousin when, in reality, the cat he had gotten me had unintentionally sabotaged our contract.
Because he bit the condom.
I was waiting for the cat to go.
Contraceptives.
That makes
I
more
wanted to cry,
sense.
the absurdity of the circumstances nearly driving me to hysteria. At least I could prove to my husband that it was indeed possible that our contraceptives had failed due to a furry problem. I wound up going to my mother and telling her about everything that had happened. I don't think she quite believed me at first, but I showed her one of the condoms I brought with me, and she seemed to understand this was a very real situation. She was sympathetic with my plight, having gone through a jaded lover, destroying her own marriage. She advised that I forgive Lucas for his outbursts and accusations, saying that she didn't want to see our marriage fall apart due to lies, like her own did. I understand that she only has the best in mind for me, but is that really what I should do? My own husband couldn't trust that I wouldn't hop in bed with my own cousin and make a baby when I had explicitly stated I didn't want kids right now.
Yeah, I don't want to watch this. So.
Okay, well, bye guys. This sucked. Nice rant.
I hate clickbait. I think everyone does. YouTube, put these people